Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
The world center of racing, replacing a sandy, and I'm going to use air quotes here, road course built on the beaches of northern Florida in 1959. It was to become not only the first oval in the United States, other than Indianapolis, to stretch over 1.5 miles, but also the first multi-purpose race facility with an accompanying road course. And tonight, for 75 minutes, our GTP and GT3 racers will have their own version of the Rolex 24. Well, make that the Rolex 23 hours, 58.5 minutes, balancing outright speed with handling on a low grip, flat infield course for round number 2 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge, presented by the SCCA Foundation, Buttkicker, and Proforma Elite here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Greg Ginsburg, and joining me in the announce booth, as always, is Larry Lefty McLeod, along with Jonathan Grabowski in that virtual production trailer, bringing you all the best views of tonight's action. And so, good evening, Larry. And so, coming off this weekend's festivities, where we saw the captain, Roger Penske, in his Porsche 963 end that 55-year drought by taking his first overall win in the 24 since 1969. I guess the big question for me is whether last season's World Challenge winner here at Daytona, D2D's Bailey Petrowski, can bounce back from his second-place finish at Mosport 2 weeks ago.
Well, we'll have to see. You know, he's certainly quick so far here in practice. He's got the quickest time, but I don't know. The real-life race showed that the Porsche's pretty quick. The Cadillacs are pretty quick, but Bailey's in an Acura, so we'll see. We've got a We got pretty much the whole mixture down here. Maybe the burden will fall on Tanner Dibble to show the speed of the Porsche here tonight. We'll see. He's currently 5th in practice.
Yes.
But yes, I'm excited. I think this is too cool. If you didn't get enough Daytona this weekend, and frankly, how couldn't you? You know, we are better than that other network that brought you that, because we are not going to interrupt this every 3 seconds with a commercial break. We're going to bring you good, solid coverage.
We
of
might
this
end the
event.
race early.
we may or may not. I did hear they're going to update the scan to put that in as a quote-unquote feature. But I think we had a good time watching. Everybody's very familiar with this track now, with these cars, with these classes. This is it. We don't have an LMP2, but we've got GTPs, we've got GTDs, aka GT3s. We have a Pro division, we've got an AM division. It's just like the real thing. It's going to be pretty wild tonight, and 75 minutes of a good time fun. What can be better on your Monday night?
I don't know of anything that could, Larry, but let's do this. Why don't we turn things over to Kevin Ford, as he always does here in the World Challenge. He's going to give us tonight's track guide of the World Center of Racing, I was going to say Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Daytona International Raceway.
Welcome, everyone, to Daytona International Speedway here in beautiful, sunny Daytona Beach, Florida. Great to have you with us as we provide your track guide today around this 3.56-mile road course. We will start our guide today from the beautiful 31-degree banking here at Daytona. That's right, the World Center of Racing, where speed and agility and endurance is what it's all about. Coming out of the NASCAR Turn 4 or Turn 12 of the road course, we're going to pick up some speed heading down to that stripe here at Daytona as we cross the starting line and head down into Turn 1. Boy, this is a busy corner, heavy on the brakes here, down through the gears. With traffic, this corner can be very difficult. You want to get a good launch up off this turn here as it takes you into Turn 2. Very slight little S section, and then down into Turn 3 here, the infamous International Horseshoe here at Daytona. Tight apex corner. Want to get right out to the outside there to get a good launch, get some speed up through this very fast internal section of the road course, around Turn 4 here, and ultimately down into Turn 5. Heavy braking here, late apexing corner, let that car rotate, get right back to the bottom, and track it right out to the outside. This will bring us to Turn 6 here. This will bring us right back up to the banking as we come down off the brakes and get right back to throttle. Very difficult there, off camber and very slippery. Tough turn to get that traction to bite as we come back up onto the 31-degree banking through Turn 7. Of course, this section right here is the best opportunity for overtaking your competitors, as there is an enormous amount of slipstream here at Daytona. And coming down into the bus stop, you'll see a lot of changes in position happening here. Down through the gears, smooth entry into 8, through 9, through 10, out of 11, and then ultimately up the banking into Turn 12 as we pick up speed once again to head down that very fast front straightaway. Boy, you'll see a lot of overtaking happening here at the end of a race, certainly for that finishing lap, as this is where it all takes place. Drivers 2, 3, 4 wide sometimes, trying to take that victory and walk away with a win from the World Center of Racing. Thanks so much for being with us. There's your track guide for Daytona International Speedway.
And thanks so much to Kevin Ford for tonight's track guide of not Indianapolis, of Daytona International Speedway. And Larry, as Kevin was finishing up, we had qualifying start here at the Speedway. We can watch right now Travis Schwenke on his out lap. We had him there for a little bit in his Orion Audi R8, and now we move over and take a look at one of those Acura ARX 06s, the one belonging to Baron Glover. And I guess this is as good a time as any, as we've got our drivers on their out laps right now, as we'll go down and show you how to pick out the 3 different classes that we have running. Obviously, the GTP cars, those are our prototypes made up of the Acuras, the Porsche 963s, made up of, who else do we have? The Cadillacs. And there's the BM. Do we have any BMWs running tonight?
I don't see any tonight.
Yeah, actually we.
Do we?
Nope.
No, I think just the GT3s have a BMW. I don't think anybody's in the BMW at GTP tonight.
No, I don't think. I think you're right. So you'll be able to pick them out, obviously, because well, they look like prototype cars, but they've got the black number boards and mirrors and end plates on the wings. There is one of our Cadillacs driven by Ben Rose. Ben, where did Ben finish up last round at CTMP at Mosport? Finished up 10th position. Not sure not where he wanted to finish, but he'll see if he can do a little bit better tonight. But then we've got our GT3 cars, and we've got, as Larry mentioned during the open, both Pro and AM category classes. We'll take a look at one of our AM drivers first, if we can, as Jonathan goes to pull one of them up. Yes, an AM. The GT3 AM cars, you'll be able to pick them out because they've got the green number boards there on the doors and on the nose, and they've also got green mirrors and windshield banners and end plates on the wings, like Lucas Dragota here in the number 119 Dragon Sport Porsche. And wow, that camera is really getting bounced around over there. And so those are the cars in green. You'll notice them when we start to see some times come in from them. They will be listed as GT3 AM on the timing tower on the screen. And then we have our GT3 Pro drivers, much like Chris Thorman here from D2D Sim Racing in the number 60 Lamborghini. And the Pro drivers, they've got the red number boards, red mirrors, red end plates on the wings, and windshield banners as well. And I say red, that's Ricmotech red, Larry, for
a very
for those,
specific shade of red.
Yes, it is. I'm not sure what Pantone color Ricmotech red is, but I'm sure Chris Thorman figured it out, and that's why he's got it on the side of his car. All right, so there you go. And on the timing tower now, you can see laps starting to come in. Qualifying is 15 minutes in length, although we might subtract a minute or a minute and a half just to make things interesting here because it is Daytona.
Two references.
Yeah, that's two. We're gonna be running out of fingers and toes by the end of this race, I'm sure. But we give our drivers 15 minutes in order to set their fastest lap, but we only allow them 4 flying laps in order to get it done. And the drivers, as they're out on track, it appears to them as though they've got the entire track to themselves. They can't rely on the draft. They can't rely on other folks around them to help them set that fast lap. They've got to do it on their own. And we are watching right now Jeff Brooks. And let's see. Oh, I thought Jeff was going to, we actually going to be talking to Alex Brown a little bit later. I thought we were going to see Jeff Brooks. Jeff is driving one of the Audi R8s. And I'm looking to see where he finished 2 weeks ago. And Jeff finished 9th in the Wrong Stuff Audi there at Mosport at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. He is currently your fastest driver on track in GT3 AM. Likewise, Ben Rose in his Cadillac. Didn't I say, Larry, that he was looking for something maybe a little bit better than the 10th position that he finished at Mosport? Well, currently he's your provisional pole sitter in GTP.
Yep, got that Cadillac right on top. He had a really good season last year, came right down to the last race. And but he also last season, if you remember, was a bit of a slow starter. It was not him leading early on. He went on quite a run in the middle of that season, but it was Bailey Petrowski who had the early races there, just like he did 2 weeks ago here in the new season. So we'll see if Ben tries to mimic what he did last season and shake off whatever happened there in the first round and come right back. But we'll see. Off to a good start here as Bailey Petrowski sets the current provisional top qualifying time at a 1:30.7, which is screaming around these parts. If you're looking at real life GTPs, I believe they were 1:35s at Daytona over the weekend. So it gives you an indication that we're close, but our drivers are better.
They're faster.
Of course they are.
And of course, Bailey Petrowski, our Season 8 GTP champion for D2D Sim Racing, looking to repeat again here this season. Mike Dam in GT3 AM goes to the top of the leaderboard there in his Orion Racing Audi with a time of 1:44.15. And Larry should note that Jeff Brooks, our AM category provisional pole sitter, currently 100th of a second clear of Mike Dam.
That's why if you look at the timing tower there on the screen, the AM is listed as a class, ahead of the Pro as a class, is because Jeff Brooks is just that 1/100th faster than Mike Dam. So the Pros are in the reds. That's where Mike Dam, as well as Michael Brooks, are in the pro. Leo Dragoda, Chris Dorman, and all the others down there. And just like that, it's Michael Brooks. It's a Brooks Brothers leading both pro and am.
Like a cheap suit, Larry.
Ranks. Yeah.
Like a cheap suit. He goes to the top of the... that's right.
But one thing to remind our viewers, though, while we're showing timing and scoring here as all the pro class together and all the am class together, the green flag will be taken with the GT3s intermixed by their qualifying time. So right now, that would be an all Brooks Brothers front row with Michael just ahead of Jeff, Mike Dam, Leo Dragoda, a couple of drivers there in the Orion cars on the second row. So they would intermix based on the lap times here. So just got to keep that in mind. And that would put Aaron Bieber down there in, I think, eighth, just on the outside of the fourth row, giving indication he's currently second fastest in GT3 AM. Jeff Brooks and Aaron Beaver, pretty big separation, only 4/10, but there's a lot of cars between them. So it's going to get exciting.
Absolutely. So, Larry, before Alex Brown from Team Collusion joins us here in just a few moments, let's quickly take a look back 2 weeks ago to our opening round of Season 9 at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park at CTMP. We'll start off with GT3 AM, where Aaron Beaver took the win in the opening round in his Delta Simtech Mercedes AMG GT3. Margin of victory over Ian Patience from the Wrong Stuff, 15.5 seconds. Mark Schindel from Schindel Racing in his BMW M4 GT3 finished in third, a lap down with Alex Brown and Russ Ruddick rounding out your top five. And if we take a look at the point standings, well, it's going to be pretty much what you would expect in GT3 AM based on those finishes. It's Beaver, then Patience, and Schindel, Brown, Ruddick, and there is the order running down based on finishing order. Let's jump over to the pros, where Leo Dragoda, Larry, starting in 6th position in GT3 Pro, takes his inaugural win in the pro category. He was your Season 8 GT3 AM champion, got elevated to the pro ranks this season by nature of that win, and he opens it up with a bang with his new team, Orion Racing. The Wrong Stuff's Ken Copeland, he put up a heck of a fight in his Mercedes AMG GT3. Ken racing for a new team this season as well, racing for the Wrong Stuff. Only a second back from Dragoda at the checkered flag. Orion Racing's Robert Hartley finishing in third. And then we had Yago Mores and Jeff Jacobs rounding out the top five. If we take a look at the point standings, though, in pro, you'll notice that even though Hartley finished with the bronze medal there, finished third, he is actually sitting 1 point back from Yago Mores, as I believe Mores had picked up a point for leading a lap at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, and actually moves ahead of Robert Hartley in the championship. Jeff Jacobs then sits 5th in the championship. And then finally, if we take a look at GTP, Shane Larson from Composite Performance in his Acura ARX 06, he had beyond a commanding win here, Larry, almost 38 seconds over last season's champion Bailey Petrowski. Both of them again driving the Acuras. Then Palakui Grant also in an Acura after taking a season off. He was our Season 7 GTP champion, took Season 8 off. He comes back and finishes in third with Scott Ramler and Tanner Dibble rounding out the top five. And so if we bring up the points there in GTP, you can see there Shane Larson with now almost with a 5-point advantage, a couple points for getting first, also for leading, I think leading the most laps. I don't even know if Petrowski actually led a lap in that race 2 weeks ago, but you can see there already a bit of a differential between first and second, and back to third with Grant. All right, looks like, Larry, we've got Alex Brown. He's sitting in the green room. Alex is driver the number 67, Team Collusion GT3 AM Ferrari. Finished fourth, as I mentioned, at Mosport last week. Let's bring him in. Let's talk to him before tonight's race.
All right, Alex Brown has joined us. And Alex, as we've moved from the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park track to the World Center of Racing here at Daytona, What's your preparation been like for this race at this track? Been catching a lot of the real race last weekend?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think probably anywhere between 16 and 17 hours. But I mean, I cleaned my house while I was at it, so it wasn't just a complete waste of time just sitting on the couch.
Well, watching racing's never a waste of time, says the guy who calls races. But I'm sure you did your share of practice around here. This is a track a lot of folks are familiar with, do a lot of endurance racing. Did your preparation include doing your own on the official 24-hour, or you just stick to the Ricmotech practices for this week?
Yeah, I mean, I was running the GTPs. We ran the Acura, actually. We had a lot of fun in the 24. So I think, frankly, my practice recently has been Wednesdays and Sundays trying to unlearn a little bit of what the GTP is teaching you, and then try to get used to what feels basically a bit more cumbersome, even though that, I mean, if I went down to a GT4 at this time, I'd be thinking that's probably more cumbersome than this. But
Yeah.
it was unlearning a little bit and getting into a different rhythm.
Do you find you can learn things though from the GTP that you can maybe pick up because of the speed of it, the speed you approach different quarters and the way you got to get that weight to transfer and make that work, that could help you in a GT3, or is it really more about undoing those habits?
I mean, yeah, there's obviously things. I think maybe it slowed things down a little bit because you're having to react so much, and the braking's different. I've always struggled a little bit with the braking in those GTPs. So to go to the ABS in this is a bit different. But I mean, it does feel like it's slowed everything down a little bit, and you are waiting on that transfer of weight a little bit more, especially through that bus stop. You're kind of going, okay, early, and then it's on the left front, and now you can get on it. I'm still learning all this stuff though.
Yeah, it's a lot to pick up. A lot of these cars have their little subtleties that you gotta really get a mastery of. But here I'm looking at the grid on this order, and I think you've got you down here about the fourth, I think, in the AM category in the grid, somewhere around I think 12th or so overall in the grid. What's your confidence to be able to be fighting for a podium 75 minutes into tonight?
I think I can. Yeah, I definitely think I can. This Ferrari this season, my very first race was literally last weekend in it at my home track, and it kind of scared the crap out of me. But it seems hooked up, especially down the straights. So fingers crossed, so we can keep it clean.
Yeah. All right. Well, good luck tonight, Alex, and maybe with any chance, maybe we'll get a chance to talk to you in about an hour and 15 with a successful night.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good broadcast.
All right, thanks so much. That was Alex Brown from Team Collusion driving the GT3 AM Ferrari. And, Larry, as our drivers are getting ready to grid up, interesting story here is as Alex was talking about having to relearn braking between the GTP cars and the GT3 cars. In real life at Daytona this past week, we had Connor Zilic, who was racing both Thursday and Friday in Global MX5 Cup. And then jumped into an LMP2 car for the Rolex, where he became, I think, the second youngest winner ever at the Rolex 24. But I think slight difference in braking between that Mazda MX-5 and the Mazda powered Lump 2 that he was in.
Yeah, that shift to into the big motor there, the LMP2 had to be quite the transition from the Miata, but he seemed to do pretty well. If I recall, he had some success in that LMP2 car. So.
Well, he's now a 17-year-old with a Rolex. So
yes,
there you go.
And they found him some apple juice for the podium celebration.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
But we've got a race in front of us.
Yes, we
do.
And
it's a battle of heavyweights. Let me run down the GTPs. I'll let you take on the GT3s.
Sounds good.
All right, on the pole tonight from GTD Sim Racing, Bailey Petrowski into the 130s there on pole. Not far off his pace. These two were rivals last season. From DNA Motorsports, Ben Rose on the outside of row 1. Row 2, it's going to be more DNA and D2D. It's a DNA on the inside, Tanner Dibble, Ben's teammate. And then the 4th spot, the outside of row 2, it's Polly Grant from D2D Sim Racing, Bailey's teammate. On row 3 on the inside, Dalton Frederick from Hutch Sport Racing, lined up alongside another DNA entry, Jordan Butler from DNA Motorsports. Row 4 on the inside, it's Molefield Motorsports' Fernando Takahashi, alongside his teammate, Dominique Ford. On row 5 on the inside, it's going to be Peter Pazurchak. I'm going to go with that. From DNA Motorsports, Bruce Jackson from Aerokinetics. On row 6, it's the fan favorites, DTD Racing's Bobby Charles, alongside Ryan Reeves, SRT Esport. And then we've got Nick Horvath and Ryan Reisman followed by Baron Glover, Noah Borkowski, Elias Halabi, and Marlon Jones, followed by Bill Mofield on row 10.
All right, so Larry, as we started talking to Alex Brown, there were some big shakeups in GT3. It is no longer the Brooks brothers on the front row. Your pole sitter for the wrong stuff, driving his Mercedes AMG GT3. It's Ken Copeland with Mike Dam from Orion and his Audi next to him, starting in second. Then we've got Michael Brooks and Jeff Brooks, both from the wrong stuff. Michael starting third in pro. Jeff, he's your AM category pole sitter. That is row number 2. Row number 3 is Leo Dragota, our winner from round number 1 from Orion Racing, with Iago Mores from the wrong stuff starting next to him in 4th. Then we've got Chris Thorman and Jeff Jacobs. They will make up row number 4, starting 7th and 8th, with Aaron Beaver and Travis Schwenke, with David Steiner, Alex Brown, John Sterling, David Payton, and Lucas Dragota. That'll take you up to 34th position or so, as we've got the green flag in the air, Larry, and we are already down into turn 1 with our GTP racers taking that early lead. It is our pole sitter, Bailey Petrowski, in the 115 Acura, jumping out to about a 4-car length advantage over Tanner Dibble as they go into the International Horseshoe for the first time.
Yeah, Tanner able to get a great jump. Actually got around his teammate, Ben Rose, who struggled in the first turn, but they all get through cleanly as we flash to the GT3s now going into turn 1, and leading the way it is that Ken Copeland in that Mercedes. I'm wondering if the Mercedes has an advantage here with the legs. We'll see. He is on pole. He's going to get through turn 1 just ahead of, looked like, was that Mike Dam, I believe, right behind him, Michael Brooks, Leo Dragota, and the other Orion Audi currently 4th. Jeff Brooks slips back into 5th as things kind of get jostled around. It's still 2 wide and 3 wide going through the horseshoe.
That's right. Nice move in Audi on Audi. Leo Dragota getting around Jeff Brooks. So Jeff Brooks now falling back to 5th overall as they went through the International Horseshoe. They now go through the kink into the Western Horseshoe. Really late turn in here and get set up. But Larry, already we talked about him in qualifying and looking for something better, and he had put in a great lap initially, but Ben Rose missing something brutally important at the back of this car. And you can see what happens. Yeah, you can see what happens when you don't have that rear wing on the back of your car going into the Le Mans chicane, the bus stop. Let's take a look and see what happened to Ben.
All right, so he's down here coming to the infield kink, coming down into the Western Horseshoe, and gets the dive bomb on the inside. He just loses it on the outside line. Cold tires.
Yep,
wow.
Cold tires, maybe net code, and then backs into the wall, loses the rear end.
I'm not even sure that. It looked like the gap was pretty big between he and I don't know if that was Dibble still his inside teammate or who that was. Didn't look like it close enough for contact. Maybe just cold tires. I'm just shocked how much damage there was. It didn't look like the highest speed impact backwards into the barriers. But yeah, that's a tough start for Ben Rose now with a 10th place rough finish for him in round 1. He's going to be got a hill to climb here as the season progresses.
Yeah, indeed. Hey, want to welcome a couple new racers, and some of them not so new, to the World Challenge this week. We've got Nick Horvath from Lead Paw Racing. Both he and Ryan Reeves will be joining the GTP ranks. Nick was previously a TCR driver in our sports car series. He's driving, as we saw there, the number 82 Cadillac. Then we also have Ryan Reeves from SRT Esports, and he is driving a Porsche this season. I think he was in a Cadillac last season, but he was not here for round number 1. And Ryan currently running 10th, having started in 12th position, making up a couple of positions, but you can see him right there. Well, right along with Nick Horvath in the Cadillac. As looks like they're trying to put the moves on Bruce Jackson now as they are getting ready to start lap number 3.
Yeah, pretty tight little bunch there as they come down into turn 1. A variety of lines, nearly 3 different lines for all 3 drivers, but they get through cleanly. This is going to be a pretty good battle, I think, for quite a while tonight, as we're only on our 2nd lap, and you can see them already fighting as the front pack also is opening up there. I see Takahashi and maybe Butler there side by side as we take a look at our GT3. You got Mike Dam already about a half a second down from Ken Copeland. Dam in the Orion car trying to chase down. There you can see Copeland in the AMG out in front.
And we'll and we'll see what the difference in braking is. So, you know, in real life, Larry, not only did the Mercedes have some legs, it also had some brakes underneath it compared to the BMWs. BMWs in real life were doing a lot of fuel savings at the 24. It looks like Ben Rose has now taken his car to the pit lane as we go on board with David Steiner in his BMW, currently running third in AM, and that appears to be about 10th or 11th in the GT3s overall, just behind Jeff Jacobs, and he's got Alex Brown, who we talked to pre-race in that bright red Ferrari directly behind him.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on this little battle as well as the night goes on, with a couple of BMWs there, with a Ferrari and a Lamborghini right on behind them, with Brown, of course, in the Ferrari, David Payton in that Lamborghini. A few of those in the field. Not a lot of Porsches in the field of GT3s tonight. I see Lucas Tragoda is in one, and I think the other is Iago Mores running in the Porsches here, so not as popular as the BMWs, but I'll tell you what, the Porsches are popular up here at the front of GTPs, and Tanner Dibble's in one of them.
Yes, they are. Here we go, is Dibble there getting around Palakui Grant, and Grant, our Season 7 champion, currently sitting third in his D2D sim racing machine. So we've got D2D drivers at the point, our leader, as well as sitting third, and then a little bit back further in the field, and not that much further back, Bobby Childs, also from D2D, filling out the Acura field there for that team, currently sitting in 9th position.
Decent start there for Bobby, moving up a couple of spots here early on, so good to see him there in the Acura, getting off to a decent start. So we're on board with Bobby, heading towards the Le Mans chicane, aka the bus stop.
The bus stop.
I love it how no one can remember it's the Le Mans chicane now, or why would we want to? We've been saying bus stop for 50 years.
We can remember it because I painted it right down onto the pavement there, so you can't forget it. and my understanding is that Circuit de la Sarthe, they've painted Daytona as well.
Nice.
So yeah. So there is Fernando Takahashi, who's gotten around to Palakui Grant. So Grant is now fallen back
He must
in the
have
fourth
had
position.
an issue, because he was right there near that front, but not anymore. So we'll have to see what went on with him, as Petrowski and Dibble seem to be kind of pulling away from the field right now.
And so just a little bit further back from that trio, matter of fact, we're watching right now Dominique Ford, driver of the number 144 machine. So Dominic ran at Mosport, but has switched over now from the BMW. We talked about the dearth of BMWs in the GTP field here, Larry. Well, we've had changes. Dominic was racing in the BMW. She has now moved over to a Porsche 963 as well, and Dominique currently running 7th. And look at this, Larry.
Yeah, and what I'm seeing is Ken Copeland's Mercedes is now back in third behind the Audi and the Lamborghini of Mike Dam and Michael Brooks. So there's been a bit of a shuffle here as they're already working their way through the back of the traffic with nearly 50 cars in the field tonight. This is a pretty busy traffic going on out there. And you can see these leaders as they come down off the banking down into one, already behind a couple back markers here in the GT3 field. They can catch which car that is. That's
I think that's Josh Vidal in the 26. Yeah, he had an issue a little bit early on, but is now pulling over driver's right as they come down to the international horseshoe.
See GTPs behind them as well. So you've got the leaders in GT3 already getting chased down by a couple leaders in GTP, and that looks like one of the wrong stuff entries.
Yeah, indeed. And so that is working way through. Pick up who that is.
I am doing the same. It's Baron Glover. It's Baron Glover.
And Glover currently running 18th overall, and basically sitting at the tail end of the 18-car GTP field here as we look as Jeff Brooks, who is our AM category leader, driving in the number 85 Audi here, dragging Iago Mores along in the 33 Porsche, the long stuff Porsche.
The Porsche doesn't normally have the best straight line speed, and I think that may be a bit of a disadvantage for Yago.
Yeah.
We've seen his pace at other tracks. I'm not sure this is the one where we're going to see his strong performance, but you never know. What he is probably enjoying is sitting in the draft behind the Audi. That might be about his best opportunity right now. But he's got Chris Thorman.
But you could even see, Larry, as they came out of the bus stop, the Porsche just doesn't seem to carry a lot of speed out of there, and he's staying in the fight because of the track.
Yeah, straight line from what I found is it's not the best straight line, but it plants the power. So coming into the infield off these hairpins, it should do a very good job of putting the power down. But unfortunately, it just doesn't have the straightaway speed for these two long straight sections. As we are on board there with Leo Jagoda, who's had a bit of an issue here to start this race.
Yeah, and Larry, he's fallen all the way back. He's fallen 22 positions back, currently sitting 9th in pro. Let's take a look.
Remember, he started up in the front 2 rows.
Yeah. So let's see what happens as they come down into the bus stop.
There's some traffic in front, and he gets on the binders a little late. And I think he just had to serve a penalty for the course cut.
Serve a slowdown for the course cut there.
He's clean, but it's all course cut serving, and that's a tough place to have to serve a penalty because you never get that speed back.
No.
So
as soon as you get out of the throttle, you're done for up there.
All right, we'll see if he can fight his way through the field. Different challenge now ahead of him, as he's got Gary Wells in that AMG just in front of him. And he's going to try and duck to the inside around Wells. And then he's got Blake Bynum and Andre Wedderburn. They're the next two up there. Blake in another one of the Porsches, Wedderburn also. So a couple of the other Porsches.
Yeah, I want to welcome Andre to the series. This is his first round out, I believe, his first time racing with the World Challenge for Wedderburn Racing in the Porsche 911.
And a nice catch of a little tail wiggle for Andre coming off of the last hairpin onto the back straight.
He was waving hello to us, Larry.
Yeah, that's what it was. A little wave, a little ka-chow for us. That's nice. Red car. Well, he's got to fight now. He's got Wells in that Mercedes on his inside. Wells going to get that spot going into the bus stop.
Yeah, he's going to have to concede that as they go in.
While Jagoda now is on the back of Bynum to try and get up a couple of spots. Get a good shot there of Wedderburn in the Porsche.
All right, let's jump back over to GTP, Larry, and we were talking about Palakui Grant. He is right there with Fernando Takahashi, trying to get third position back, and Dalton Fredericks in the number 20 Porsche. He's right in the thick of this as well. As it looks like Bobby, look at this, Bobby Childs up 3 positions from the last time we checked in, now up to 6th. He was working his way through some of that GTP traffic as well. He's part of that little fight.
Yeah, I don't read Portuguese on the lips of Fernando Takahashi there for the camera we had on, but I'm guessing he might have been a little frustrated with the traffic.
Yeah.
But that traffic was the leaders in GT3. You can't blame them. I mean, they're just running their race. It's really tight now at the front there. That was Copeland that was sort of stuck in the middle of all of that. So, I will see. Luckily, everybody seemed to get through. Cooler heads prevailed, but I can certainly understand the frustration for Takahashi in his own fight here with Palakui, Grant, and Fredericks and the others.
One of these days we'll have live closed captioning every time we check in with some of the drivers,
and we'll put it in Portuguese for the Brazilian drivers. And,
yes. And ChatGPT will convert it to English for the rest of us. All right, so on board now, this is Ken Copeland and Michael Brooks, as Mike Dam now has fallen back to 3rd, Larry, as he is now almost 2. There he is, just coming past the pit exit wall now, almost 2.5 seconds in arrears. He's got Jeff Brooks and Iago Mores challenging him for third in GTP.
Yeah, well, they're not close enough to the challenge, because again, you can see more of these GTPs going on through, and I think it's going to be that kind of stuff. That might be partly why Dam got shuffled back there so far back. Remember, as we saw just a few minutes ago, he was in the lead of that threesome at the front of the GT3s, and now he's back in the 3rd, a couple seconds back. It could swing either way, and take a look at this as the GTP is going to duck to the inside of the leaders. This is going to help Mike Dam. He'll be the only one to get a good run off of that corner onto the banking. So it'll all come back together here. Always keep in mind with an Orion car like Mike Dam, They are so efficient with fuel savings and with pit stops. He's never out of this if he's within 5 seconds of the lead when it comes down to that pit stop.
Wow, look at the run that Copeland gets coming out of the Western coming out of the run onto the oval there and into
that
the
AMG's. It's got legs, as they say. That thing runs for days.
Oh. All right, Larry. Let's jump back to this battle in GTP between Takahashi and Grant. And you know, we've known and watched last season where Fernando Takahashi, very aggressive early on, perhaps not the most consistent racer,
but he races.
Yeah, he definitely does, and you can see he's been taking it to Paulo Grant now for the last 4 laps or so.
Yeah. He's intense. You look at him, and he's got Grant all on the outside. Both of the horseshoes. He was trying to make it over the outside. I think this time Grant makes it stick. And it looks like that Fredericks is going to take that opportunity as well. So Dalton Fredericks jumps down that inside to take over the 4th spot, pushing Takahashi down to the 5th. But now they're back onto the banking. Let's see if Takahashi can respond before they get to the bus stop. Oh, but look at Fernando's. Look at the look on his face.
He's like gritting his teeth, and oh my gosh.
Oh, this is a great shot, though. The intensity is wonderful. If you watched any of the Live 24 weekend coverage that was on, they had a lot of cameras like this of the real drivers in their cars. You could actually look back in some cases at the drivers' expressions, and it was kind of fascinating that we get to see the same thing here. We can see what the drivers are really looking at. We can watch their eyes, and we can see how they're responding to these moments like Fernando just did.
Right, so Fernando going high as they get ready to set up, hard braking down into turn number 1 here in just a moment. But first, they've got to get past the start-finish line to start lap number 11, and now under braking, coming down the inside, Dalton Fredericks holds off the number 23 machine as they now go into the S's. They are all lined up in a row, and then fanning out. But it's Grant, then Fredericks, then Takahashi, 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Yeah, great job there for Fredericks, taking advantage of what Paulo Grant was able to do and to get by Takahashi. But let's flash back now to some more battles in GT3s. This is that's Aaron Beaver there alongside, is that
I think that's Schwenke, and I think they
Thorman
drafted past D2D's Chris Thorman in the number 60 Lamborghini. So Thorman now falling back into 6th row with Joel, and it looks like Thorman might have just come underneath the Audi going into turn 1 later on the brakes. So give that position back to Thorman. Schwenke now to 6th. Aaron Beaver running 2nd in AM in that Delta Sport, probably the Delta Sport Mercedes.
He's at probably one of the biggest movers in the entire field right now is Aaron Beaver in that Mercedes. Like you said, up the 2nd spot in the AM class. He's only, about 2 seconds back of Jeff Brooks in the Audi leading an AM category. So keep your eye on this Mercedes. He might be a contender here shortly, but he's going to have to hold off Thorman and Schwenke. Schwenke, a little bit of struggles there getting down through that the International Horseshoe. But Thorman is going to try and draft up underneath the back of that Mercedes down the banking. And watch the Mercedes as we're on board with Thorman. Watch the Mercedes pull and pull and pull. I don't know if the Lamborghini's got enough to draft him when he gets close. Look at this. He's not closing yet.
Yeah, well, I'd like to see what he does on the brakes. He was able to outbrake the Audi going into turn 1. Let's see what he does as they come and set up now for the bus stop.
He gets it better in the middle of that run. Look at that exit he gets. That's great job there for Thorman.
And that, if he wasn't in the draft and he wasn't able to close up, that extra little bit that he made up at the bus stop might have gotten him close enough with.
But look at this. He's there, but he's not really drafting. Look at that Mercedes continue to punch a hole in the air. It doesn't care.
Yeah, he just cannot make up any ground.
Yeah.
So let's see as he goes low, coming into turn 1, and
that is such an advantage. Such an advantage for the Mercedes drivers tonight to know that they can defend coming up, even with a much better run. We all saw it for Thorman, a great exit there, and yet still the Mercedes able to defend all the way around back to start finish. That's pretty impressive the way these cars are set up on this kind of track, that if you could just maintain position on the infield, you can hold them off on the banking. But it's a long race. We still got another 55 minutes or so to go in this thing.
All right, Larry, let's jump back up to the battle for the lead in GT3, just a couple cars ahead of where we were watching a few moments ago here, as we've got Brooks in the Lamborghini, and this is where the tables are turned. We've got the Lamborghini as the lead car, we've got the Mercedes as the trailer.
This is interesting because I think this is smart. I think this is team. Notice, there they are, the two liveries. These are both wrong stuff drivers.
Right.
They're using the Mercedes as a pusher of the Lamborghini going on the banking. They're trying to hold off the Audi behind. And then on the infield, the Lamborghini may be a little bit quicker, and then the Mercedes able to draft back up. I have a feeling they're doing this on purpose. Maybe they'll swap eventually, do a little fuel savings in the other order. I got to imagine Copeland's got to be able to save a little bit of fuel if he's just pushing Brooks all the way to the braking zone.
Yeah, and that appears to be all that he's doing is, we'll see if he tries to make a move going into turn one, but I can't imagine at this point they would, because that would bring Mike Dam right back into the fight.
This is so smart as teammates to say, hey, let's make sure one of us can do this and make Dam figure out his own fuel strategy. Like I said, maybe in 15 minutes or 10 minutes down the road here, maybe they'll swap and it'll end up being Brooks getting the draft behind Copeland. But we'll get back to that in a few minutes. We flash back up to some battles going on here in the middle of the pack. Bobby Childs right in the middle of it here in GTP.
Yeah, as we got Bobby down to the inside and walking right around in his Cadillac. That is Bruce Jackson. He's got Ryan Reeves in a Porsche directly behind as they drop down into turn number one. Oh, maybe a little bit of contact between Reeves and Childs, turning in for one, but both cars keep their machines under control now as they head down into the International Horseshoe.
Yep, they get through there without too much stopping, so that's a good thing. Even with a little bit of side contact, they're all good to go. Bobby right in the middle of the battle. He's been a pretty good mover here tonight, but so has Bruce Jackson. Bruce had a pretty good start to this race as well. And then, of course, Reeves not too far behind him there. As we got a shot here at Polycui Grant. Still struggling a little bit here at this stage of the race. There's a bit of a replay as he may have dropped a tire here on the infield. On the outside of the Western Horseshoe, it's going to look like.
Yeah, and Larry, as he was trying to get around that GT3 machine, he had to move all the way to the inside, and it looks like he just wasn't set up to brake in the Western Horseshoe.
Yeah. Lucky for him, though, he kept it off the over. We saw Ben Rose in the opening lap of the cold tires swap ends and backed it into that same tire barrier. In this case, Grant's able to just keep the car under control and sweep his way back out. So that's a good job for him keeping this thing alive. It's a long, long race tonight. If you can do that, you got a chance.
All right, here we go with two Mercedes. Larry, this is the battle for 9th and AM with Michael Caffrey and Joe Hutchings. And Hutchings in the number 8 machine. That's the trailing white Mercedes. And directly behind them, Mark Schindel in the 418 BMW. So make that 9th, 10th, and 11th, probably 8th, 9th, and 10th. Now, let's try that again. 9th, 10th, and 11th in AM is Hutchings trying to come underneath as they come through the horseshoe there.
And here comes that battle of GTPs we were on just a few minutes ago, where Bobby Childs and I think that is Bruce Jackson. It's kind of right there next to him as they're coming through this pack of racing GT3s of Hutchins and Schindel. There's a lot of traffic. Oh no, it's side by side in the GTPs. Wow.
And Hutchings there in the 8 machine, the odd man out is he's lost a lot of ground to those two drivers up ahead. Whoa, wait a second, Larry. I've got to untilt my chair as we watch Bobby Childs almost go inverted on the 31 degree banking at Daytona. Yeah, I didn't think he was going to stop the roll there. And,
this is Bobby doing Bobby things. That's how he rolls.
Most races he doesn't stop.
Oh,
the roll.
Let's not say that. Come on now. His fan club already hates us. We don't want to do that.
Sorry, Stubby.
But Bobby so far having a good little scrap here with Bruce, with Ryan Reeves there. That's a good time between a Cadillac and Acura and a Porsche, one of each there in that little cluster along the banking. Flash back to Takahashi, still in the battle with Polycui Grant. Look at these guys now to the inside. I think that's Alex Brown
Yeah,
in the Ferrari.
Indeed, I was going to say, I think that was Alex Brown, and just ahead of Brown. Oh my gosh.
All right, Takahashi now, as we're back on board, we can see, look at the intensity as he's trying to slip to one side of one GT3. He's going to stay on that outside line for Thorman. He's going to hope Thorman stays low as he enters the banking. He does go on the outside. And look at this, comes up to that Delta Sport. He's going to go to the outside there as well. Got to go high in the GTPs. Grant does the same, but it's to the inside as he ducks down the inside of the 85. I think that's Jeff Brooks, actually, that they're up on top of as well. There's Iago Mores. So they're coming up to the leaders in GT3. Grant's got to run, though. Grant in the Porsche. Grant in the Acura. Fernando in the Porsche.
Oh, and he's setting himself up here, Larry, as they come around and cross the stripe to start lap number 17. We'll see if Grant can go deep on the outside, and he does. He
Much
is
better on the brakes, yeah.
He goes so deep onto the brakes there, and to move Grant up in the 4th position.
That was a great job. I didn't know that he was going to get that, but deep on the brakes, able to hold that line, get the weight to the outside. A good run for Grant, able to take that spot. I'm sure we'll be seeing more of that. Here's Brown and Jeff Jacobs having their little fight. That's David Steiner, the Australian, also in that little group, as they've got more cars coming through there. That's the 519 of Peter Pasorchek coming through right now as well, to try and get by these guys, these couple of BMWs and the Ferrari, mixing it up here in the infield.
Yeah, and Jeff Jacobs trying to get any kind of draft he can off of the back of that GTP machine to stay ahead of David Steiner as they go into the Western Horseshoe. Actually, it worked fairly well, Larry. He actually made up a little bit of ground on Alex Brown.
Yep. And there we've got one of our DNA entries. That's the 414 of Ryan Reisman now. The next in the GTP is to go around this grouping. Take the high line. Of course, he's teammates with Dibble and Ben Rose and the others there in the DNA Motorsports. All right, so there's our leader in GTP still, and he has opened up a bunch. Remember, early on, Tanner Dibble was actually staying pretty close to Petrowski. Petrowski has ended that. In fact, Dibble's back to 3rd in a fight with Dalton Fredericks. Petrowski, though, almost 12 seconds ahead of the field as he's picking his way through traffic so efficiently, as has kind of been his signature, picking through traffic.
You know, and interesting, Larry, here is we just had a call over the radio that there had been some contact earlier between Tanner Dibble and the 963 GTP Porsche and the 713 GT3 Porsche of Blake Bynum, and Dibble has been given a warning, so no action taken. We'll take a look back and see if we can pick that out and find that in the archives.
We'll see if Dibble's got any damage sustained from that, as he's in the fight there with Fredericks, but Fredericks is definitely being faster right now as he's opened it up to almost a second and a half there for 2nd spot. Grant, in fact, is starting to close it up on Dibble for the 3rd spot, so let's keep our eyes on them. And of course, Takahashi, where Grant goes, so does Fernando, as those guys have been kind of stuck together. Let's see if we can catch the replay here of Dibble's contact between the Porsches. That is it. Yep. And that is the slow Porsche right down there.
And again, interesting that the call was, you know, for a warning to Dibble. I don't think Dibble, or probably to Grant.
To Dibble.
To Dibble. And I don't think Dibble really had anything to do with it.
And that was Blake Bynum, we said, was
as Bynum was trying to rejoin. Now, also interesting is we'll notice now that Bobby Childs is coming down the pit lane, Larry. He has been given a drive-through penalty. Oh. I did not hear what the incident was, but that brought that about. But he is serving a drive-through currently. He had been as high as 6th position. He now sits 10th as no doubt that's going to drop he's going to drop even further here as he comes down the pit lane here and on his way out to rejoin traffic here on lap number 19.
Huh. Yeah, I'm not sure what that was. We do know that there are incident limits that if they exceed those, they would get a drive-through, but I'd be surprised at this point in the race that they would have that. Bobby seemed to be running a pretty clean and clear race to this point, but perhaps one of his crew will jump into the chat at some points and let us know. But that's unfortunate for Bobby having to give up what essentially is about a minute penalty to have to come down to pit lane.
And we can see here, Larry, Mike Dam, he's back in the fight. He has gotten the Orion Audi now right back up with Michael Brooks and Ken Copeland. So after having dropped quite a bit as our GTP leaders had worked through a couple laps ago, at least he was close to the infield. You can see here when they get out of the infield and onto the oval that Audi seems to be at least with a little bit of a disadvantage.
Yeah, he's been had to do this all on his own because of the front two teammates kind of helping each other out. But you can see now he's finally got his way up into draft. And if you're in this Audi, I think that's important for you, because we know that all the Mercedes have got the straight line speed. That's what Copeland's got, and Copeland's been helping to push along Brooks, the teammate, up in front. But now that it's a 1-2-3, Dam can now use some of that draft. And now he can really work on a fuel saving strategy and try to make a pass in the pits in the next, let's say, 15 minutes or so when these guys start to pit. So strategy is now all abound for all three of these front movers.
All right, Larry, another penalty has just come in for an incident involving the number 60 of Thorman and the number 30. That is the 30 Mercedes of Gary Wells. And Thorman has been assigned a 10-second post-race penalty.
Wow.
So that is certainly going to hurt the D2D racer, who's currently sitting 8th in pro. And they've only got 9 drivers in pro, so we'll have to see how things play out for him as this race transpires. But we'll watch here, Larry, as our leaders come again back out onto the oval. And, it could be Mike Dam with some of the fuel savings. He does seem to make up a little bit of ground to the Mercedes. He actually seems to do a little bit better job of getting back to that wrong stuff Mercedes of Copeland than what we saw a little bit earlier.
A little bit, I think.
Drivers trying to get up to Beaver.
Yeah, I think the Audi does really well. Kind of like what I mentioned earlier about the Porsche. It puts power down coming out of the corners very well, or maybe it carries it through the corners better than the Mercedes. The Mercedes sometimes gets a little bit of a funny squirrely, but it's got that straight line speed. And I think you're seeing some of that here, but look at the straight line speed. As soon as a good run for the Lamborghini in the front allows the Copeland in second to sort of draft up behind him, and then Dam again falls back. I don't know how much fuel saving Mike Dam's been able to do in the Orion entry, because he hasn't really been close enough to take advantage of draft. Yeah. Copeland, to me, he could be half a second or 1 second faster on fueling, even more because of what he's been able to do here. If he's been able to take advantage of the fuel situation, I would not be surprised if he's got several car length lead on both of these two when we come around from the pit exchanges here in the next little bit.
Yeah, and so Larry, interesting. Want to welcome a couple of folks in the chat here tonight. Peyton Sweet says, "Let's go Hutch Sport," and we were watching Joe Hutchings in his Mercedes a little while ago. The entire Hutch Sport team, that's Dan Krim, Gary Wells, Joe Hutchings, and Mike Robinson, making the move from those Audis to the Mercedes this round. And so I think that means that they likely are going to have to give up their round 1 points. But we'll see how things play out as we're watching right now. Leo Dragotta making up some ground on Hutchings in that white Mercedes just ahead. Of course, Dragotta on a recovery run. He's now he's up to 8th in pro, but more importantly, he is currently sitting, he's currently sitting 33rd after having after his early off-track excursion, and slowdown penalty was down as low as 44th.
Yeah, that was a big penalty to have to service. Take a look at this. We got the 713 across the track. That's Blake Bynum stuck there, and it is a giant traffic jam trying to get around. Thorman's going to suffer. That's him. We just saw him coming to a stop on the outside by the wall. Thorman is on the toe.
Yeah,
wow,
so
we're going to have to get a replay queued up of that.
Yeah, I don't think that 10-second penalty for Thorman's going to matter much anymore, as he's going to spend a lot of time in the pit lane, as is Blake Bynum. Let's take a look and see exactly what happened, Larry.
All right, so you see here, we're on board. It should be with Bynum going into the Western hairpin, and he's just going to lose it. The problem is, let's keep an eye on this. There's one that gets to the inside, two to the inside. That looks like, oh, that was Dragotta, and then Thorman, I'm surprised. It looked like a lot of contact, but
yeah,
he's out.
Well, you know, I'll tell you, Larry, and you know, and not to, again, not to pin blame, but we already know that Bynum had been involved, and it looked like he was trying to rejoin after an earlier spin and came in front of another car, and this time as well, there was that little bit of a movement where he got to the throttle and then said,
this is on board with Thorman, the D2D driver. Oh, it is a much bigger impact than I thought originally from the first replay.
Yeah, it was.
That's unfortunate for Chris, and also for Blake. I hate seeing that happen to him, having that spin. He doesn't want to be stranded there and watching everyone come at him and ruin their races. I'm sure he doesn't feel well about that. But the race moves on as Tanner Dibble is in the pits.
All right, so Dibble now on the pit lane, and it looks like, as best we can tell, is that the car is up in the air, and so we are now currently on lap 22. Looks like he was taking some tires, and Larry, we thought that the pit window for the GT3 cars would open up right around lap 23 or thereabouts. So coming in fairly early, pit window for the GTPs anywhere between laps 23 and 27. The GT3 cars starting a much shorter window between laps 20 and 23, and our GT3 cars, they're running lap 20 right now. So as we're just about at the top of the hour, we're probably going to start to see a number of these machines come down the pit lane.
More traffic here on the oval. A little intense here as we're getting closer and closer to the rest of the pit stop window. Obviously, Dibble was there, but a few more should be making their way soon as we're just about to the halfway point here.
That's it, and we're on board right now. Looking out the back of David Steiner's BMW, back to Jeff Jacobs. Steiner currently running fourth. There he is in that white and blue machine, the Australian BMW, with Jeff Jacobs behind. Jacobs running sixth in pro in the yellow and orange BMW. All right, coming down the pit lane now, that is Ryan Reisman in the DNA Motorsports Cadillac, the 414 machine, as he comes in for service. It looks like he may be taking some tires here, and I would guess, Larry, that you know, especially if they can take the tires while they've got fuel going into the car with these cars, it kind of makes sense at least to take the right sides.
I would expect you might find over this length of a race that they might do all four.
Yeah.
At that point, I'm not sure how much more of a time penalty is to do the extra two tires on these cars. We know in other cars, some of the more touring type cars, they have such long pit stops, and they can take two for free, and then they gotta sit longer and take the others. These GTPs that don't seem to be having that same sort of penalty. As we're on board here with Bailey Petrowski, Mike Dam, who is in that front threesome in GT3s, he's down pit lane. He's going to be the first of those three. Let's see if he's thinking to come out in clean air.
Yeah, and but again, Larry, as you mentioned, you didn't think that Mike Dam was really able to do much in the way of fuel savings here in his opening stint. We've got Jeff Jacobs, David Steiner, and David Payton coming down the pit lane as well now, and so those pit cycles have definitely started for our GT3 racers here at 9:01 p.m. Eastern.
A little bit of traffic. Remember, the exit of pit lane here is that long, narrow bottleneck. So I saw that couple of GT3s, the BMWs coming in together. We'll see what happens when they go out. As we flash back up to our leaders, these are the leaders. That is Michael Brooks and Ken Copeland. Brooks in that Lamborghini, Copeland in the Mercedes. And in between them, that is the 151. That is that's Andrew Wedderburn in the Porsche. He manages to get out of the way and let these guys go by now, but a lot of traffic there coming back onto the banking.
Yeah, and that little sequence there might have been Mike Dam's saving grace. We'll see if
as
they got bottlenecked behind the Wetterbomb Porsche that give him a chance. But look at this.
Really hurt
Copeland
a lot.
Yeah, Copeland having trouble getting around the Porsche here, and has really separated the two right stuff, or probably the two wrong stuff racers. Say that 5 times.
Well, it looks like Wedderburn's going to come into the pits anyway, but not before it separates Copeland from his teammate Brooks. So now about a second and a half between them. And look at this. There's Wedderburn. Alongside him is Takahashi in the 23.
Yeah, and Takahashi will be the first of our leaders to come down the pit lane. He pits in from 4th. Oh, as he and Wedderburn get together twice, going to the pit box. As Wedderburn, I think.
Yes. So what happened there is when you're in the pit box side of pit lane, in the boxes, the cars are basically ghosts. But when you're not in there, the cars are real. And I think there may have been a misjudgment on a couple of parts there. Takahashi wanted to get to his spot, but he had a Wedderburn on his inside. Takahashi doesn't look happy about it. I can understand that. We'll see what comes out of this, but that's tough.
All right, Larry, we haven't spent a lot of time on our leader, Bailey Petrowski. But as the fuel levels are running down in that Acura ARX-06, Petrowski just sets fast lap here, a 131.25. And Ben Rose was our fastest driver in practice during the week, about 0.04 of a second faster. But we'll see how much longer the 115 machine stays out.
Yeah, we'll see if he runs that thing dry. He's also shown a history of being one of the latter ones to come in for his fuel stops. Very efficient on fuel, very efficient through traffic. That's kind of the way his game is. Efficiency all around. This little battle, though, that is Jordan Butler and Baron Glover. Glover on the inside in the wrong stuff. Jordan Butler, I think is that a DNA Motorsports entry?
DNA Motorsports, yes.
Yep, and it looks like he's got a little bit more drag on his car, or perhaps the advantage of the inside line for the wrong stuff entry. But look at that. If it is extra downforce, it is advantage DNA as Jordan Butler goes around the outside of Baron Glover down to turn 1. That's where that extra downforce can help you. But guess who's in? Race leader GT3's Michael Brooks.
And Iago Mores and Aaron Beaver, Travis Schwenke, and Alex Brown follow him down the pit lane. Larry, we'll see here. That's going to leave both Ken Copeland out as our new GT3 Pro leader. It's also going to leave Jeff Brooks in his Audi out as our GT3 AM leader, currently running second in GT3. We'll see how that plays out.
I'll be curious here if the two teammates in the wrong stuff here between Brooks and Copeland decided to offset their pit stops and try to prevent Mike Dam from picking up the bonus point for leading a lap of his field. Because right now with Copeland still after the lead was, I don't know if Mike Dam had one earlier or not, because he only led for moments while they were doing some passing. He may have already gotten that bonus point, but if he didn't, this is an opportunity for them to try and block that. But we'll see if that whole exchange we had seen with these guys, the wrong stuff drivers, ends up hurting them a little bit, but it doesn't look like it, because I think there's Brooks now a second or so ahead of Mike Dam after the pit stops.
All right, Larry, and so we've got Bailey Petrowski down the pit lane, as well as Dalton Fredericks and Palakui Grant, our top 3, and let's add Ryan Reeves as well, our top 3 GTP racers now on the pit lane. We'll see how it plays out for them. We also have Jordan Butler coming down the pit lane, but for a very different reason. The 172 Acura driver had already taken his pit stop, but he was assigned a drive-through penalty. Didn't catch what the infraction was.
I guess speeding in
the pit lane. Exactly. Yeah. And so he's going to make another circuit of the pit lane here, and that is going to drop him back to at least 13th in GTP, as Petrowski is now out. Peter Porzachek, at least temporarily, is our leader in GTP.
Yeah, good job for him being able to pick up that bonus point for leading his class the race. Petrowski, though, now he's the first. He's come in for his stop.
Oh, and we've got a big.
And that is a big wreck there. He's going around.
Yeah, big wreck there. And coming down the pit lane now, Larry, is Leo Dragota in the 118 Orion Audi. Also coming in now, Michael Caffrey in his that yellow Mercedes. and as well as, well, Jeff Brooks has just finished up service in his GT3 AM Mercedes, and Bobby Childs coming in for service as well. But Larry, as we now have the majority of our GT3 racers having pitted in, the one exception sitting at the top of the field is Ken Copeland from the wrong stuff in his Mercedes. He is still out circulating and putting in at least one more lap. And I'll tell you, we're running real late on the break here. Here he comes. So let's follow him down the pit lane, Larry, and we'll see where he rejoins, and then we'll take a break.
He was late on the brakes, but he does manage to get it woed down as he comes to his pit box behind an injured GTP car. That's one of the Mulfield entries. That actually might be Bill Mulfield.
I think that's
right
Bill
there
Mulfield.
in front of him.
That's been there for the majority of the race. Yeah.
Well, let's keep an eye on this, because we know that his teammate Brooks had a very good pit stop, a couple seconds faster than Mike Dam, and was able to retain position on track. We'll see if Copeland's able to do the same thing and keep up with that teammate. Remember, though, he was about 2 seconds back from Brooks because of the traffic issues before coming in for the pit stops. So there you can see out on the oval, again, we're looking for all the reds. Number 2 and number 3.
Should be coming up
Brooks.
to the start-finish line now, both Brooks and Dam. So we'll see them popping down into turn 1 here momentarily. But there we go. There's Michael Brooks.
Copeland's pit stop and Brooks's pit stop were nearly about a 1 second apart. Both of them several seconds faster than Mike Dam. Here's my theory: is one, faster because they were efficient on fuel, but I wonder if they didn't take all 4 tires, if they only took right sides. And we'll see if that changes the strategies and changes the advantage as we come into the last 30 minutes of this race. Mike Dam just might have better tires at the end of this race.
All right, well, Larry, we will have to see, as we've got, as you mentioned, just about 33 minutes remaining here, or probably 28 minutes remaining here from Daytona. So let's take a quick break. We'll be right back, and we'll take you all the way to the checkered flag. You are watching round number 2 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge, presented by the SCCA Foundation, Buttkicker, and Proforma Elite here on Apex Racing TV. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name-brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org. The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway, for round number 2 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge, presented by the SCCA Foundation, Buttkicker, and Proforma Elite here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Greg Ginsberg, along with Larry Lifkin McLeod. And Larry, we are just about, 35 minutes remaining?
25.
25 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
I know, that's always your favorite.
I hope I don't call the end of this race a minute and a half early.
Just don't call it 25 minutes early, because that would be an issue. But we don't control the checker. iRacing does. But we are on board with your overall race leader, Billy Petrowski. 9-second advantage over his nearest rival, Dalton Fredericks. Peter Porzacek currently in third, having a good, solid race here in the second round here at Daytona. Over in the GT3 ranks, it's the Brooks, no longer leading is Brooks. It's his teammate, your pole sitter, Ken Copeland, out in front by almost 3 seconds on Michael Brooks. So we were saying maybe that traffic sort of broke them up and it was a disadvantage Copeland. I suspect Copeland didn't care, as he has got pace.
Yeah, and he saved some additional fuel there by
Perhaps,
laying back,
yeah.
maybe. Who knows?
So Brooks, his teammate, who led a lot of this race, is in second. The Lamborghini, Mike Dam from Orion Racing, currently in third. Yago Mores has moved up to fourth in the Porsche.
Yeah,
Aaron Beaver, fifth overall in GT3s, is currently your leader in GT3 AM, ahead of our pre-race interviewee, Alex Brown. There's Alex. Team collusion. Ferrari. Canadian flag, of course, on the back of that car. We've got, what are we, 5 different countries represented here tonight? 4 or 5? I can't count.
We've got the U.S., we've got Brazil, we've got Canada, we've got Australia, and I think that's it.
And the planet Mars, where the announcers are from.
Yes.
That's the 5th one.
That's right. Hey, so Larry, want to remind everybody that at the end of the season ceremonies, we're going to have, once again this season, a lucky driver will win a Buttkicker Gamer Plus package valued at $279.95. If you want to turn up the immersion in your sim rig, visit thebuttkicker.com for more details.
Yeah, a lot of traffic.
Deep.
That's Baron Glover there in the Wrong Stuff GTP, trying to get around Leo Dragota, who's right behind David Steiner, one of the Australians, in that BMW. There goes Glover on through, but keep your eye on this guy, Leo. He was been quick. Again, not only did he get a penalty early, he also, I believe, had to avoid the Porsche that was across the track right here just about 10, 15 laps ago. So a couple of times he's gotten pushed back, still running 8th in pro, but boy, lots of challenges for this young Leo Dragota here tonight.
Yeah, and again, Leo coming off his very first win in GT3 Pro 2 weeks ago at Mosport for Orion Racing, when it was interesting to see him taking up the charge for the Orion Racing stalwarts, for Schwenke, for Dam, and for Hartley. There, as their races, well, Hartley still finished on the podium, but as their races were, turning for naught, as Dragota just pushed forward. And, again, a great run for him, as he is now up to 30th position again after having to avoid that second incident. But, he was down as low as 44th here early on in this race.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an off night here for the Orion team. I think the Wrong Stuff came to play between Copeland and Brooks to really try and dominate. And remember, it was Jeff Brooks, I think, was on the pole for the M class as well. So a good night for the whole starting out, at least to this point, for the Wrong Stuff. You know, Mike Dam currently in third, but he's a couple seconds back from being a part of the front 2 runners there. We'll see if maybe he can make some noise there. And then Schwenke down in 5th. He's about another 20 or 30 seconds back. And then we talked a little bit about young Leo there. So yeah, not the strongest night for Orion here. Maybe not their strongest track, but the Wrong Stuff seems to definitely come to play and bring the fight to Orion.
Yeah, exactly. So jelly for sale a little bit earlier tonight in the chat, Larry. Goes go TWS for the wrong stuff. Too many to name.
True. Overwhelm them with numbers as we got a good battle going on here. This is Tanner Dibble in one of those two Porsches. The other, of course, Ryan Reeves. Reeves this time under attack from Dibble. Dibble with a good run coming out of the Le Mans chicane. Trying to use the draft.
Le Mans chicane between there and Sebring. I don't know where Le Mans is any longer.
It's in southern France.
Yes.
Look at that close.
It's not
close
Central
battle.
Florida.
Apparently it is, but only in the northwest quarter of Central Florida.
Yeah.
Northeast. Oh yeah, look at that. It's a good racing.
Yeah, as the rear end on the 92 just steps out.
Yeah.
Look at that, and Dippo not able to do anything with it. Hey, just got word from Race Control. Leo Dragota, as we were talking about him just a little while ago, he had made a pass on David Steiner on the tri-oval, but had dropped down below the double lines onto the apron to make the pass. He had to give that position back.
Interesting. Okay, they're enforcing that. Speaking of young Leo, there he is, and handling the pressure, sometimes the frustrations. We almost call this his sophomore outing, but he's been around quite a bit. But here in his second World Challenge race with the Orion team, being the sophomore outing, and just having that sophomore slump, and I'm sure he'll bounce back in 2 weeks' time.
You saw there Josh Vidal in the 26 machine pulling over to let both Steiner and Dragota through, as well as now they're all going to have a number of our GTP racers.
Bobby Charles is one of them. Porzachek is the other. So a couple of those guys coming through, and I think right behind them.
I'm pretty sure
is that Grant? Who that is?
Yeah, I think it's let's see if it was Marlon. But
the other one that could be is Nick Horvath. He spent a while in the pits, but he has come back out. So maybe that was Nick.
And it's in the yellow card. Yeah, I think you're right.
That's Horvath there in the Lead Paw Racing entry. Rough race for him tonight, but gets a few minutes of camera time.
And Larry, this is we've got our third place runner in AM. That's Ian Patience in the number 21 Audi, and Jeff Jacobs, who's been sitting back, kind of mired in 6th position in pro, sitting behind him. Jacobs has since before the pit stops been challenging Patience for the overall position. That would be looks like 8th overall in GT, in GT3, I believe.
Well, we're gonna keep an eye on this with Ian Patience in particular in the AM category. Currently 3rd, just a couple seconds back from second spot, Alex Brown in the Ferrari. So I'm just gonna keep an eye on that. As we've still got about 20 minutes, 18 minutes here to go. Can Patience, remember, Patience dominated through consistency that opening round.
He did.
At Canadian Tire Motorsport up there, Motorsport, and kind of just. I don't think we showed the camera on him more than twice the whole night because he just wasn't ever involved in anything. No. Just kept putting his head down, turning laps. Tonight, a little bit more fighting, a little more thing. Now the roles are reversed. Instead of Brown being stuck mired in second spot, can't find his way out. He's the guy in second now with Patience behind him, and he's got to try and hold him off while it's Aaron Beaver out in front. So Brown may be the consistent guy here, but Patience and Beaver seem to be the ones kind of up or down. And tonight for Patience, he's a little down.
Yeah, and so Patience, again, looking to repeat on that second place finish that he had 2 weeks ago, where he finished behind Aaron Beaver. Beaver, Ian Patience finished second to Beaver at Mosport.
All right, so on board here with Ryan Reeves in the battle with Tanner Dibble. Dibble was able to get around Reeves in the last couple laps, so here they go through La Manche Chicane, aka bus stop, one more time. Dibble really good at that, doesn't really give up anything. That's, I think, how he was able to set up Reeves for the last pass and able to hold him back here. So Dibble pretty efficient there, so to hold down that 5th spot in GTP. Trying to get the draft is Reeves.
Looks like now he's
got
maybe
traffic.
locked in, but I think that's more traffic ahead of these two than anything else.
Yeah, oh, there's a lot of traffic up there. I do love the Porsche logo in the script or whatever written out through the bumper lighting on the back of Dibble's car. Oh, look at this though. They're gonna go 3 wide around Russ Ruddock.
Ruddock.
Yep. Ruddock says, I don't want any part of this, guys. You take your fight to somewhere else, please.
Yeah, and Larry, just ahead of him is Fernando Takahashi, who we, were watching early on in this race in that fight for 3rd with Paulo Cui Grant, and he's
it's all the Porsches together.
But both Dibble and Reeves that last time by about a half second faster than the 23 machine.
I wonder if Takahashi was struggling with that traffic we had seen with Russ Ruddock was right in there, and I wonder if that slowed up Takahashi and it's provided this opportunity. Now, remember I mentioned Dibble was so quick through the bus stop the last couple times. If he does it again, he'll get a run on Takahashi down across the start-finish line as we've got just about 15 minutes to go before we end this thing tonight. Let's see if he gets a run and gets a draft now. Remember, he was 8/10 when they were on the leading side of the bus stop. Now on the trailing side, it's down to 4/10 and closing quickly.
I was going to say, I can tell it's closing quickly, Larry, as I'm watching the relative speeds between the two cars.
Yeah.
And Dibble was accelerating a bit faster than Takahashi was there out on the tri-oval. Wow, and you can see here, look how late on the brakes Tanner Dibble is.
Hang on to it, Tanner.
Maybe a little too late on the brakes.
Got a little bit of everything there, but he's certainly closed that gap now.
And Reeves was right with him too. Look at this. Reeves was tit for tat with him going under braking in the turn number 1, and both of those drivers once again a full half second faster than Takahashi ahead.
Yep, and they're going to try now ducking to the inside of one of the GT3 Porsches. I'll check and see real quick if I can identify that car. It's a Blake Bynum.
Here we go.
And there he goes. Takahashi on the inside still. But the guy that's going to get the run, I think, is going to be Reeves out of all this because he wasn't side-by-side, but a good exit still despite that for Takahashi. They're all going to wait and see who gets the better run coming out of bus stop.
Oh, and coming around the oh wow, look at that as Reeves went high and Dibble had to come back up to cut him off there under braking going into the bus stop. Let's see as they now come back out onto the tri-oval here. Takahashi gets a better run out.
Does. You can see him kind of checking his mirrors, a little wipe of the brow, check the glasses. He's good. Chance to get, watch his hands, a little bit of relaxing of the hands. He's conscious of all this. You're an hour in. You've got to really relax everything. And good job for Fernando Takahashi in doing that opportunity there on the oval. And get a wiggle this time on the inside. It's Takahashi. Caught a little grass, I think, on the inside. And that slowed up Dibble. And now Reeves is going to take advantage by being up on the outside. Not enough, though. Dibble holds on to that spot. Wow.
And once again, Larry, Dibble so much later on the brakes going into turn 1 that he was right up to the gearbox of Takahashi's Porsche. And when Takahashi had that little bit of a bobble, there was nowhere for Tanner Dibble to go.
No. And so Takahashi was but yeah, like you said, he did good on the brakes, but he turned in, caught that, and Dibble was so deep on him, just completely left out with nowhere to go. But look at this. He turns onto the oval. He's struggling to get the power down, and Reeves is now going to take advantage of it. I wonder if Dibble's tires are starting to show their age. Run for Reeves. Oh, and there's traffic ahead. All the traffics. It's contact. That's Reeves into the back of Dibble. Reeves is off. He's going to get back on again, but not before losing about 4 or 5 seconds. Wow, I think that traffic sort of put him a little bit out of the rhythm, and Dibble may have tapped the brakes early because of it, leaving Reeves a bit surprised.
All right, John, can we go back and take a look at that again? Because things got awfully crowded awfully quickly. Oh,
maybe from Reeves, if we can.
Yeah, I would say either from Reeves or maybe an overhead, one of the two.
Yeah, let's take a look at this. If we can see it on board here with Reeves, and again, he's the one trailing. He's popping out looking at a draft, and you watch in front of him as Dibble's going to go to the brakes right here, and I think it just caught Reeves a little bit surprised, and luckily, he doesn't go all the way to the inside like an LMP2 car did over the weekend, but Reeves able to recover. Maybe catch a different angle in this replay here in a second. Yeah, here we go. So let's watch a bit of the chopper view here. Again, Reeves is the trailing car, Dibble on the inside. Watch Dibble, he's just going to brake.
And you know, and Larry, I think it was that he took that quick little look to the outside, realized that he was closing too quickly on that GT3 car, and by the time he decided to come to the inside, we had the car ahead of him all the way already under braking.
Because you actually had 4 cars involved there. You had the GT3 that was on the outside. You had the GT3 up in front, a Mercedes that was in front of Dibble, and Dibble may have had to brake a hair early for that. And between all that, the missed view, the offline, trying to catch a draft, I think Reeves just kind of got caught by all of it. Luckily, not a large fender bender, and Reeves able to recover, but not before losing several seconds in the mix.
All right, Larry, this is Aaron Beaver in the number 97 Delta Sim Sport Mercedes, and he's giving Yago Mores a run for it here. This is the battle for 4th in GTP, or pardon me, 4th in GT3.
But different classes, though.
Yeah, exactly. Beaver is currently your AM category leader.
We're going to get back to that in a second because this battle is on again. Here comes Dibble now to the outside on Takahashi. As for a moment there, he might have been ahead of him, but now Takahashi ahead again. These two. Now it's a two-way scrap. 5 seconds back is Reeves. I don't think he's going to catch these guys in the next 10 minutes. But Dibble, he seems to be faster in certain parts. Takahashi seems to be more consistent.
Yes. And, you know, although, Larry, you know, as we start to watch this now, the one advantage Dibble has is that he doesn't have to, he's not concerned with Ryan Reeves any longer. He doesn't have to really do that double check in his mirrors any longer.
It's a lot easier to attack that way. When you're in the middle of a sandwich there of 3 cars, it's always tough because every move you make up in front costs you somebody coming from behind. It's much easier to chase a one-on-one, mano-a-mano, like Dibble now can with Takahashi in front. Look at the run that Dibble's going to get here, though. You could see it, and it led to failure because Takahashi got the opposite. Wow, let's get a replay of that, Jonathan.
We saw Takahashi had the rear end walk around on him on the second half of the chicane and really left Reeves with nowhere to go.
Dibble.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Dibble with nowhere to go.
Dibble gets a fantastic run on this. He was so set up. But look at front. Look at the front car. Look at the slide right there. Costs all of it. I think Takahashi was pushing wide. He was probably trying to not take the off track. And unfortunately, it takes the on contact right in front of Dibble, and Dibble ends up hitting him as Takahashi's down pit lane.
And they're both down pit lane, Larry, with damage. And the one thing that it happened awfully quickly, Larry, but as they came into the bus stop, Takahashi actually dropped the right front wheel into the grass at the first right-hander in there. And I think that really unsettled the car as we saw the rear end start to walk on him almost immediately after that car came back on the pavement.
Yep, and that's unfortunate. What it does do is, remember we were talking a minute ago about Ryan Reeves, who had lost out because he had the contact and avoided the big hit, but still cost him. Well, now he's up to 4th spot ahead of these guys. So good for him. He was able to recover. Reeves now in 4th. Grant, Fredericks, and Petrowski still holding down the podium with just about 8 minutes to go. Maybe roughly about 5 more laps, give or take.
Laps, maybe.
Depending if we've got IMSA workers in the flagger stand.
Actually, it's all race control, Larry. We'll have to.
As long as they don't throw the checker when they mean to throw the white. Barney, make sure you get the white flag in hand.
Exactly. Somebody check the batteries in Kevin Ford's stopwatch.
All right, so We are on board here with Jeff Brooks, where Jeff Brooks had a pretty good start. He is now trying to chase down Jeff Jacobs. Jacobs, of course, in the pro category. Brooks currently 4th in the AM category of GT3. Brooks had a good...
But just ahead of Jacobs, that's Ian Patience in the 21 Audi. That's the fight for 3rd in AM with Jacobs right in the middle of it.
Yeah, and 10 minutes ago I was talking about Ian Patience. Maybe you had an outside shot to run down Alex Brown for 2nd.
Yeah.
Not the case. If anything, Patience has fallen back into the stranglehold here of Jeff Brooks. Brooks just has to get rid of Jeff Jacobs so he can have a chance for position in class. But remember, when it comes to points, while you're judged against your official class, you actually get scored the number of points based on the entire GT3 field. So even if Brooks only gets around Jeff Jacobs, he still picks up a couple of more points. But what he really wants to do is then get in front of Patience so he can block Patience's points. See how that works? It's math. It's all about the math, man.
Which you know I'm absolutely miserable at.
We've got to fight for 2nd.
Yeah, Mike Dam now moving in the 2nd position, getting around Michael Brooks. Looked like Brooks might have had an off track.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can pull that up and see exactly what happened here.
All right, so here they are. This is down on the banking, on the back straight, looking for the bus stop. And with Russ Ruddock there, nowhere to go for Brooks. He does take the off track, slows up, but manages to keep it together and hold his position just a little bit, so he loses the 1 spot to Mike Dam, who was closing, by the way.
Yes.
Dam wasn't far back, but now we have a fight on our hands. These two cars, I know one's an Audi and one's a Lamborghini. They're actually very similar cars. Obviously, both of them made by Volkswagen Audi, both similar power plants. And what I'm told is they drive similarly as well. So pretty equal fight here. Dam going to do everything he can to try and keep cars between he and Brooks, but that is for the last 2 spots on the podium in GT3 Pro as we go on board with Jeff Brooks, now ahead of Jeff Jacobs, trying to chase down Ian Patience for that 3rd spot in the podium in the GT3 AM.
All right, let's take a look, see how we got the pass done, Larry, as they are coming down into turn number 1.
Yeah.
And he's already
going high side.
Ahead.
He's going full Dale Earnhardt, goes to high side around Jeff Jacobs. Awesome move.
And he almost got around Ian Patience going into 1 as well. Patience was able to hold him off from the inside. Larry, we already got word back from race control with the quasi incident there between Michael Brooks and Russ Ruddock. No action taken from race control.
Good move. Yeah, good call. Good call.
Yeah.
Right, because again, the onus is always on the trailing, faster lapping car, as long as the slower car being blue flagged isn't blocking, which he wasn't for Russ Ruddock. And I think in that case, a good job for Brooks to avoid the contact. Had there been contact, it probably would have been his fault. So he did a good job there. As Patience now with Jeff Brooks going to try and go high side again. Equal Audis as they're going to come around. Can Brooks outbrake him as they go across the stripe here with 3.5 minutes to go? Oh, this is going to be tight. Brooks is going to take it under braking. Can he hold the corner, though? He does. Jeff Brooks ahead of Patience now onto the podium in GT3 AM.
Yeah, and we saw there as Brooks went and used the draft of the GTP car that was passing by him. I thought that maybe for a moment that Brooks had maybe gone a little bit high on the banking, but was able to get much deeper on the brakes than the 21 machine. And so we see there a new 3rd place runner in GT3 AM.
Yeah, and we'll see now. Did Ian Patience learn anything from watching the equal Audi outbrake him entirely by several car lengths going into one? Does Patience test it going into 1 the next time around? They're only going to probably get 2, maybe a third shot, depending on where race leader Petrowski and Fredericks are. We are keeping an eye on that battle, by the way, between Petrowski and Fredericks, is because that lead is now down to only 5 seconds. I'm wondering if Petrowski is doing a little bit of fuel savings. Because Mr. Fredericks is on his way. It's getting exciting here, 74 minutes in. if this were an IMSA race, they throw the checkered flag right now.
That's right.
There is Billy Petrowski.
Race will be over right about
Now, Petrowski just reset fastest lap of the race on lap 45, so 2 laps to go. He did respond, but Fredericks is still running a pretty solid pace. Let's see what they do both here coming out of the bus stop. Petrowski looks clean. Got that lead back over 5 seconds. It got down around 4 there for a minute.
Yeah, looks like he's picked the pace back up.
All right, so
yeah, let's see if he gets the white flag here, Larry, as we're at 1:13:45.
he should get the white flag, or if it were IMSA, it'd be a checkered.
There it is. White flag is in the air, or whatever Barney was waving. Our racers are still going
Big
there.
slide
Bailey
there in the
Petrowski
run-up for Petrowski.
now working his last lap.
Yeah, he's pushing that pretty hard. And he just knows he needs to finish this lap. But the battle is still going between Mike Dam and Michael Brooks, as they are nose to tail, just 3/10 apart. They know they're about to get the white flag next time around. Let's see if that Lamborghini's got any kind of a run for the Audi. We get this Lamborghini Audi battle. Got the 2 Audis battling there in GT3 AM between Patience and Brooks. All the battles are happening still with 1 lap to go. There it is. There's Patience in the 21. Brooks, the teammate, in the 85. As they come to the bus stop, they'll get one more shot at this before they see checker. I'm assuming that Bailey is not right behind them. No, that's Jordan Butler going by.
That's Butler.
Bailey's probably entering the back.
Oh, look at this, Larry. Now,
oh, no, look at this.
Side by side.
What a move.
Into the international horseshoe there, as Dam has to fight off Michael Brooks, and Dam's going to have inside position going into the kink.
All right, so there's your winner. Your overall, Bailey Petrowski by 6 seconds. It's going to be Fredericks coming into second, probably Queen Grant in third, but we can't take our eyes away from this battle. Look at this side by side as they're going to enter the oval here in a second. Look at Brooks holding this line, going to make Dam work as they got one more run into the bus stop and 1 run out. I want to be the second car in this. I want the draft for the pass at the stripe. And Michael Brooks is set up to do exactly that. This is for the second spot in GT3 Pro.
That's right, as Copeland now getting ready. Copeland's he should be out of the bus stop now, obviously, as Dam, and there's Ken Copeland making his way to the checkered flag. He's going to take the win in GT3 Pro, but coming out of the bus stop, Mike Dam with a car length and a half advantage now over Michael Brooks in the Wrong Stuff Ferrari as they come to the line.
It's going to be close.
As Brooks is now going to try to draft up to the back of the Audi, try to break to the driver's right to the outside. Is he close enough to do it? Here to slingshot by, he comes up alongside as they make the run to the checker, and Mike Dam will finish second in GT3 Pro. Michael Brooks will finish in third.
And over in GT3 AM, of course, Aaron Beaver is still leading the way there in that Mercedes, and he's going to get the win by almost 12 seconds over our pre-race interviewee, Alex Brown, going to finish second. And that's still a battle going on there between Brooks and Patience for the last spot. Brooks with about a 1 second advantage as they come to the stripe, and he'll take the third spot on the podium. And I got to say, Mike Dam, going back to that real quick.
Oh, yeah.
2 weeks in a row, photo finish. Remember, he did the same thing at Zandvoort a week ago in the autos.
And that was in the touring car cup in the MX-5 with his teammate. But, oh, yeah, two weeks in a row. Here, Mike Dam with a photo finish at the line. Once in a Mazda, once in an Audi.
Yep. Well, great race. Great race with Ken Copeland. I got to say, we're going to talk to him hopefully. Solid performance tonight. Just great execution. That'll be a fun one to talk to. Let's do some interviews.
That's right. But before we do, Larry, let's take a quick break. Thank some of our sponsors, and then we'll come back. We'll interview some of our podium finishers here from Daytona, where you've just seen round number 2 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge, presented by the SCCA Foundation, Buttkicker, and Performa Elite. We'll be right back.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Hundreds of name brand parts. Expert support. Ricmotech has you covered. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
And welcome back to Daytona International Speedway, where you've just seen round number 2 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge, presented by SCCA Foundation, Buttkicker, and Proforma Elite. I'm Greg Ginsberg, along with Larry Lefty McLeod, and let's take a look at that finishing order. Once again, taking the win in GTP, Bailey Petrowski from D2D Sim Racing. Dalton Fredericks from Hutch Sport finishes second in his Porsche, with Paulo Cui Grant from D2D finishing in third. In GT3 Pro, taking the win for the Wrong Stuff, Ken Copeland with Mike Dam finishing second, Michael Brooks from the Wrong Stuff finishing in third. And in GT3 AM, taking the win, Aaron Beaver from Delta Simtech, Alex Brown, we talked to him early on, from Team Collusion finishing in second, and then Jeff Brooks finishing in third. Jeff racing for the Wrong Stuff, or as who was it who said so many the Wrong Stuff drivers to name. All right.
Big team.
Exactly. All right, so Larry, we've got a couple of our drivers lining up in the green room. Let's bring in, and I think this is the very first time we've had a chance to talk to him, racing for Hutch Sport in his Porsche 963 GTP car, Dalton Fredericks, finishing second tonight in GTP.
All right, joining us here, finishing on that podium, as Greg just said, Dalton Fredericks. And Dalton, I know you're new to the series. I think it's just your second race, but here you are on the podium. A great run, really pushed it right to the end. How you feeling about tonight's finish?
Good, I feel great. It definitely boosted my confidence. And actually, this is my first race here on the road side. But couldn't thank our team enough with our Porsche 963. Everyone at the shop does really great with setting these cars up and getting these things to perform well with the handling and straightaway speed. So I thank everyone at the shop, especially Joe Hutchings, leading the whole group.
Yeah, really, it sets you up with a great car here tonight. You know, consistent, it seemed. We had a lot of other things happening around the GTPs, a lot of activity, a lot of other battles. And you just kind of got yourself into a groove there, middle part of that race. And towards the end of the race, though, you looked like you were closing in on Petrowski. Did you feel like you had good pace to close it out? Maybe a 10-minute longer race, you might have had him?
Yeah, I think I was a little faster at the end, but we were kind of just trading lap times back and forth. So he was doing very good at keeping keeping the gap up and managing his traffic. So applause to him. Great racing overall. A bit hectic at the beginning as usual, but we were able to get through the jumbo and come out in a decent finish.
Yeah, well, awesome job for you. As you said, kind of your maiden voyage here in the Ricmotech series, and I have a feeling this isn't going to be the last time that we're going to be talking to you with finishes like this ahead of you, I'm sure. But here on the podium here at Daytona, you already mentioned your teams. Anybody else want to give a special thanks to for helping you get onto the podium tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to thank All-Star 15 TV, Drinking Bros Auto Racing Group, Nerds Doing Nerd Things, Detoured by Designs, Honey Hill Farms, all them guys at the shop too, teammates and everything. We worked great together. Couldn't be with a better group of guys. So thank you guys for putting on this program and broadcasting this stuff for us, and very good race, and hopefully everyone enjoyed.
Well, congrats, Dalton Fredericks from Hutch Sport Racing, taking home in his first road here with the Ricmotech Series in second place in GTPs. Congrats.
All right, and so Larry, you know, we have a lot of racers here, primarily on the GT3 AM side with Hutch Sport, and of course Dalton, the one exception there, running in GTP. Hutch Sport has been racing for years in the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Circle Track series, and this is their first season, turning both left and right with us, and so we want to welcome in a great way here in round number 2 to kick things off for them here at Daytona. All right, let's move over now to our GTP winner, Larry. He was our season 9 champion, and he comes back with his first win of the season. It's Bailey Petrowski from D2D Sim Racing.
All right, Bailey, welcome back to Victory Circle. Tell me a little bit about what is it like to win here at Daytona in round 2.
Ooh, yeah, it feels good. I wasn't expecting it, honestly. Going into the practice sessions, I was really struggling for pace in all the practice sessions I joined earlier in the week, so came into it this last night very pessimistic, I would say, but I switched to a different setup last second and instantly found half a second of pace, and I think that's all I needed. So, and from there it was just I needed to qualify well because the Porsches had extremely good straight line speed, and as long as I could stay in front of them, that was good. But Grant was struggling with it the whole race. But once we just couldn't compare to them in a straight line, and it was almost impossible to overtake any of them.
Yeah, some of those Porsches definitely put up some pretty good numbers. In fact, we just talked to Dalton Fredericks, and you may have yourself another challenger. Another target on your back, somebody looking at you to try to take you down. You like this? You like all challengers coming to you?
Absolutely. I almost got too comfortable with it last season, and kind of a reality check now that I'm still fairly slow. I still have a lot of work that I can do to get quicker, and it's been good motivation to help me improve and put more time in, which I think is exactly what I needed. So I think it's great. Love seeing so many cars on the track. It might be chaotic, but absolutely love it.
Well, it's good. It's already starting to set up to be a pretty fantastic season. A big field. I love the variety of cars, but a familiar name coming from the Season 1 championship and already right back to Victory Circle here in Season 2 here at Daytona. But Bailey, I'm sure you got some folks you want to thank for helping you get the win tonight.
Yes, absolutely. I want to thank our sponsors, Proforma and Invictus. I want to thank my family. I want to thank the D2D for having me race with them. Let's see. Ooh, I'm struggling. I wasn't expecting to be up here today. It feels weird. Yeah, thank you guys for everyone for watching the broadcast. Thank you guys for commentating on these races and all of that. Thank you for making such a good broadcast out of this and making it feel so professional.
All right, well, Bailey, proven that even after winning a lot of races, sometimes you can even be a little bit humbled with another victory, and it's tough to come to words, but it's all right. You can go celebrate because you got yourself a victory here tonight. You can savor this one. So, Bailey Petrowski taking the win at GTP.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
All right, there you go. And, you know, Larry, to hear Bailey, our season 9 champion, say, I'm still slow. Just after taking the win, just seems.
Even a winner is never done improving, and he'll keep working at it. It's great to see. He loves the competition. It's going to be a good one.
Indeed. All right, let's do this, Larry. Let's move over to GT3 Pro, if only because I'm hoping that we'll get a song here. Finishing second tonight from Orion Racing in his Audi R8. It's the songbird. It's Mike Dam.
All right, Mike. I don't know that we're gonna make you sing here as the runner-up tonight, but maybe you want to.
I got no song for you. I'm sorry. I'm too tired.
I thought maybe, 2 weeks in a row, you end up in nearly a photo finish at the line there. Tonight it's for second place with Michael Brooks. But what a race that you had. The fight you had to keep up with the wrong stuff, guys. And then the fight right down to the wire with Mike for the second spot. You got to be exhausted. That looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, they were playing a little dirty there.
I don't know if they call it dirty.
I know. It's... Yeah, no, dude, I ran the wheels off this car that first stint. I got a little bit of traffic luck, I think, and that helped me kind of get back in the draft a little bit, but, like, dude, they would pull on me with their little tag team in there. I had no chance, but, no, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it definitely looked like it, and those are the kind of races where the teammates had a plan, and they executed so well, it seemed. And to be able to come out, I mean, that's the way it works. That's why you got teammates tonight. Unfortunately, your teammates seemed to struggle, had some issues up and down, kind of left you as the only man from Orion standing up front there. But to be able to split those two guys at the end, it's got to feel pretty good to be between them on the podium.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, again, I got a little bit of traffic luck at the end there, but I was really happy to be able to hold them off there for those last few laps. You had a quick car. I mean, my car felt great too, so that was really a lot of fun going side by side that whole last lap, and really tight run to the line there.
Yeah, it looked like a ton of fun. It could have gone on for at least a minute and a half if IMSA was going to give us maybe that extra minute and a half back that we didn't give the drivers yesterday. By the way, that's like a 9th or 10th reference to that. But Mike, good job tonight. Next week, make sure if you're on the podium, you've got some song prepared for us. So just saying, we're expecting that from you.
Well, I didn't win.
That's true. I didn't say it had to be a good song, but tonight, second place for you, Mike Dam. And so I know we'll see you next week back in the Touring Car Cup.
Absolutely, guys.
All right, everybody. That's Mike Dam from Orion Racing, finishing second tonight in GTP. Let's bring in our GTP winner, racing for the wrong stuff, driving the number 15 Mercedes AMG GT3, Ken Copeland.
All right, Ken Copeland. We just talked to Mike Dam, and he jokingly said, what you guys were doing up front and playing dirty, knowing that it was beautiful teamwork execution. Watching you and Michael Brooks pushing each other. You were pushing him basically around the oval. Beautiful stuff, but was that part of the plan, or was that sort of an impromptu, hey, let's try this while we're at it?
Oh, no, that was totally part of the plan. Yeah, we cut lots and lots of laps this week. And like, as everybody may know about me, I'm not a huge fan of Daytona, but Michael makes it fun. So that was a great time that a lot of work went into, I will say.
Yeah, it was amazing to watch. And Greg and I were speculating, and maybe you can kind of give me the insider here. The Mercedes has traditionally been the faster straight line car, but sometimes on the infield, especially around here, it struggles a little bit. Was that the idea to have Michael in front of you, that he could pull you to the infield, you push him on the oval?
Yeah, a little bit. So we did a lot of testing with the Merc. Obviously, you just kind of dump all the wing out of it, find a setup that works for you. The infield's a little rough, but you gain time on the oval. XMS also runs kind of a bit of an additional BOP based on the Daytona 24, which is totally fair. And what we basically found was he was faster with me pushing him, and with me pushing him, I was still quick, and I also conserved a ton of fuel. So like I was able to stretch that stint out to like 26. It saves me so much time in the pits that it made the last half of the stint much easier because I'm not having to fight anybody essentially. But yeah, it was somewhat of the game plan once we got the race started, and I realized that Mike Dam was just going to kind of sit in behind me. I wasn't gaining on him on the oval really, and he was going to be able to save fuel as much as he wanted. So
Yeah, it was beautiful to watch you guys execute, and right at the end, you had the pace, you had this thing on pole, and then work to perfection. Obviously, with Michael Brooks getting caught there with a little bit of traffic toward the end, kind of cost him perhaps a second place, but still ends up on the podium. A great result for the Wrong Stuff team. But I'm sure as the winner now, I'm sure you got some folks you want to thank for this, teammates and others as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, first off, I'll thank Mercedes because that thing is just absolutely overpowered at Daytona. I do want to thank my lovely wife, Dana, my friends Will and Tina, who are hanging out watching. Now that I'm with the Wrong Stuff, all the guys on the team make just sitting in the sim, practicing, gathering data so enjoyable. So I want to thank all them. Also, all our sponsors that help out the team. So Bruzy, Buttkicker, Dangerous, McConey, SimMotion, UB Safe, and then also Mike at WC91 Liveries. If you need a livery, hit him up because he does awesome work. But yeah. Thanks everybody at XMS for putting on the season, doing all the work in the background. It's a ton of fun, and you guys as well. I will shout out to Sam. I agree with him. Daytona 24, awful idea.
All
right, well, Ken Copeland from the Wrong Stuff, you're winner of GT3 Pro here tonight at Daytona. Congrats, Ken.
Thanks, sir. Y'all have a good one.
All right, there you go. Let's bring in Larry now, our final winner of the evening, taking the win in GT3 AM, driving for Delta SimTech in his, what was he driving? He was driving also a Mercedes AMG GT3, Aaron Beaver.
All right, Aaron, and we're here going on about the power of the Mercedes around here, and I'm wondering if you agree with our assessment. It's a good car and a good car to have tonight.
Yeah, it was. It did really well. I could really see it pulling away from, I think maybe it was an Audi that was behind me at one point that, and the Lambo that, if I got a good exit out of a corner, they, I could see pulling a little bit, even though they were in the draft. So yeah, it worked really well tonight.
Yeah, a lot of traffic. Almost 50 cars lined up for the field tonight. Could you feel that aloud? There seemed to be so much 2 and 3 wide, especially around the infield section. Is that a little more than normal, difficult to navigate?
Yeah, I mean, the first few laps, of course, were just the, class cars, your own class, and getting everyone sorted out. And then once the prototypes started coming around, then that, really made it interesting. But the doing the 24-hour race really helped prepare, me for that, even mentally, and, knowing what the prototypes might do and giving them room and stuff.
Yeah, that's a great opportunity. Like 24 hours is a long time. Each driver's out there for several hours. You got to probably figure out where the right places are to let a prototype pass and to work your way through traffic. And that kind of pays off on a night like this, because even the 75 minutes, not that long, but it seems like that efficiency pays off to not give up a lot of time to the bus stop trying to let some GTP on by, as well as even working through the traffic, even with the slower cars and GT3s. But you seem to do pretty well. You had a solid lead. You kind of checked out on these guys, kind of left them scratching their heads. And you think you're going to be able to do this a couple weeks in a row now? Is this going to become a weekly thing with you?
I don't know. Long Beach, that's going to be a crapshoot, really. I don't know what's going to happen there. So that'll be interesting. Just not a lot of passing opportunities, and people are just driving around in a line. It seems like a lot there. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Very, very different than Daytona, that's for sure. Yep. But that's still 2 weeks away. You can go celebrate. You got yourself a win here tonight, but I'm sure you got some folks who want to thank for helping you get the victory.
Yeah, I want to thank Delta SimTech for letting me drive their car and have their sponsor on it, and using their wheel and dash. Thank Ricmotech and XMS for putting on this great league and having us here each week. It's been really fun.
Well, it's a lot of fun watching you, and you definitely had a great run here tonight, taking victory in GT3 AM. It's Aaron Beaver. Congrats.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks so much to Aaron and Larry. Yeah, we'll have to see if he can repeat and get his 3rd win in 3 tries in 2 weeks when we head out to the West Coast. So let's take a look quickly and give everybody a rundown on what's coming up on the schedule here in the next couple of weeks. Next week, we are going to have round number 3 of the Ricmotech Touring Car Cup. That's for our Mazda MX-5 Cup cars and Toyota GR86 Cup cars. We're going to be heading down to South America, going to be heading to Brazil and Interlagos for rounds. Actually, I believe it's rounds 3 and 4. It's going to be dual 30-minute races with an inverted field for that second race. And then in 2 weeks, you heard Ken, we're going to be heading out to California. And round number 3 of the World Challenge, it is at Long Beach, site of the Long Beach Grand Prix. We'll have to see if those GTP cars can make it around the hairpin. That in its own right should be entertainment for all of us. Another 75-minute race for our GTP and GT3 machines. And then come April, we will have the Ricmotech Sports Car Series return for our LMP3 and GT4 cars. Keep tuned. We'll give you more information as we get closer to that. All right, so for Larry Lefty McLeod, for Jonathan Grabowski, I'm Greg Ginsburg. We'll see you next Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern from Interlagos. Have a great week, everybody.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.